Esperanto, Koutcha and ECPAT presents the inventory of networks and practices in the care of child victims of trafficking, with Lynne Chitty, who talks about the Vietnamese child victims. What is the profile of Asian child victims you welcome at Love 146?
So most of our young people are 16 plus, and most of them are males, so we have more boys than girls. So they would come into either our carers or they would go into the local authority carer, where we would then provide the wraparound support. Most of the young people come from two provinces in Vietnam, which is Hai Phong and Nha Trang.
Is there an evolution of trends in Southeast Asian trafficking in the past few years?
So we have seen a shift in young people's arrivals. So most of our young people fly to Russia, journey across Europe, and usually get to France and then arrive in the back of a lorry at a seaport in the UK. We've seen slight changes where a couple of our young people have actually flown into London, which is quite a difference for us. Also in the last 5 years, I would say, we are recovering a lot of young females within the cannabis farm. So it used to be mainly men and boys doing the cannabis cultivation. So we've had 3 females in the last 5 years, which is a bit of a change, but I think that's a trend that's happening more and more. Nail bars, obviously, we are finding quite a few boys now in nail bars. That used to be mainly young girls, but also we do know that sexual exploitation happens to both boys and girls, and that is usually when a young person is being exploited in a nail bar. That tends to happen. So in the UK, lots of people ask, about stats. What are the stats? What are the trends? What does it look like? And I always get very concerned about those, because we do know that the Refugee Council did a study a while back looking at young people who are in the asylum process. So there was a steady increase from 2015 to 2019, from 182, I think, to 459. But these are the children we know of. So these are the children that have been identified. There are many, many, many more young people that have never been identified, are still in exploitation, and are hidden in plain sight. So my concern is about the ones we don't know about, the ones that have not been identified. Whenever I see a stat, I always say this is only the tip of the iceberg, and I think we have to remember we should be concerned about the young people we don't know about.
What is the best way to take into account the cultural specificities of Southeast Asian victims?
I just think it's so vital that carers, social workers, frontline staff are trained, not only in the issues of trafficking and identification, but also about culture. The reasons why young people don't tell, the reasons why young people don't actually give their opinion. So in some cultures they don't. So we ensure that our young people have a voice, and we will ask them. But I think for what we have in Love 146 is that we have a trusted Vietnamese support worker. So we can get right in straight away with them speaking their first language, making sure their cultural needs are being met, basic food needs, religious needs, and building up that trust and relationship. So we look at the culture very, very quickly and just make sure that we are addressing that at all times. That enables the young people to build up trust and the trust and relationships with our social worker and our carers. And we still work with young people who we've worked with 9-10 years ago who still make contact with us.